What if our homes didn't just influence the way that we lived, but actually shaped entire suburbs for generations to come? From Highgate to Como, Scarborough to Wanneroo, from Geraldton to Albany, and all across this coastal paradise that we call home. This is 120 years of building WA. Why 120? Because that's how long ago it was when a humble carpenter had an idea to go into business for himself. Thomas Scott Plunkett, founder of the oldest operating home builder in WA. I'm Rachel Clare, and today I'm on a mission to explore some of Plunkett's history and to speak to some of the legacy-making, culture-spreading, home-building families that didn't just choose to live here, they laid down roots.
My late husband Dennis was a police officer for 43 years. He had a lot of sense of pride in that this was a really nice house and he liked to show it off.
My father's name was Stanley James Ray Compson. He went to work for Plunkett's in 1934. Just after that, the Second World War broke out. He was made the foreman of the building of the grain distillery, which was there to manufacture power alcohol, on which the Air Force were going to fly their planes.
Just that history and knowing that's visceral and right in front of you, it's not about us, it's about that the house has been here for 100 years and that we're just custodians.
All right, Graham, what have you got for me?
I have here some handwritten journals dating back to the 1920s.
These are the original ledgers.
The original ledgers, all handwritten of course, and when we open it up you'll see where, besides having the date, it provides the details of what the money is for. It gives you a time capsule of the Plunketts right from day one, not only of the Plunkett building companies, but the supply companies.
So how much would a property have cost somebody back then?
In those days, you'd be looking at around about £2,000 to £3,500.
Very different to the prices we're paying today.
Certainly.
One collection of suburbs that Plunkett has had a big impact on over the years is just north of the CBD, the thriving and bustling villages of Highgate and Mount Lawley. From the original Plunkett home that still stands on Wright Street to over 90 others, the Plunkett legacy lives on in the form of families who have helped shape this melting pot of Western Australian culture. But it wasn't always this way.
Nowadays, they're kind of like inner, urban, they've got like a lot of character and personality. And back then, when they first sort of started as new suburbs, they were quite working class. Some of the suburbs that Plunkett built, they were farming land before they then became subdivided.
You can definitely drive into Highgate and kind of go, okay, you can feel that it's different, you can see that it's different, there's a different vibe about it, just by what you can see in the architecture, etc.
Talk to me about how you initially ended up here.
As an adult, my daughter and I think had moved something like, 20 times in 20 years. So we were looking for a family home and we walked in and it just felt like home. They had that beautiful red brick and the tuck pointing and beautiful old windows and, the architecture of that era was just so great. We just started returning it to the glory, putting in arches, putting in beautiful cornice work, trying to respect the history of the house. Some of the sliding doors we put into the house we've got from previous houses and they're over 100 years old themselves.
You can see 5 houses in a row, they all look different, but they're actually all the same house that Plunkett might have built, but they've just been added to over the years, and it goes back to that self-expression part. For years to come, people will add to it and they'll bring that their own personality into it, which is exciting. Post that federation, it became a bit more less is more, and that's where you sort of started to see those real iconic pieces of furniture come through as well, because they became more the statement. Looking at mid-century type homes, I just think of the Jetsons where you had these cool shapes and all that sort of thing, and people got a bit more playful.
I tried to buy Plunkett's for 17 years. I liked what they stood for. They were a very, very proud brand, and if you work for Plunkett's, you achieve something. At the last minute, the lawyers are still going backwards and forwards trying to negotiate contracts. I just said to my CFO at the time, give me a cheque, I'm going down there, and I did the whole thing on a handshake.
I love the Federation, I love the Hamptons, and I love the mid-century stuff. They all have their sort of unique appeal to me. I think the nice thing is we can now replicate some of the beauty of it whilst at the same time embracing the fact that we are living a different type of life today.
We've always liked Hamptons, always. It was really important to us that it was a family home that encouraged people to come together.
That space will evolve as well, and I've already planted trees in position for what I want to do in 10 years.
It makes it feel that this is a space that we've created especially for us, so it feels special.
The big thing that stuck out to me is Plunkett, they had a reputation. They were renowned for their business ethics and how they did things. And it was a legacy that was passed down through all of us as we started there and worked there for years. Bearing in mind, a lot of people worked there for like 30 and 40 years. For me, with the kids, Jay and Alicia being involved, it's another thing of cascading that legacy of how we do business to the next generation. So you're talking about a business now that's been through effectively 5 generations.
When I was about 18, my parents bought property. They have a beautiful place in the hinterland in Lisarow. Before I'd even met Mike, I knew that that's what I wanted. It was just so beautiful, so quiet, very close to everything, but you still feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, almost like a resort. We definitely wanted to feature the land from every room, so every single room has the most beautiful view to the outside.
Well, that was the original idea when we first even started designing the house, to have the wedding here and have as much grass as we can to be able to entertain everyone and have a big marquee out there. This home has been such a large aspect of my life to get here, but even before I met Polly, I wouldn't want to give that away. I would love to hold that within the family and keep it with us for as long as we can, and for Willow to enjoy for her children in the future.
Just as Thomas Scott Plunkett could hardly have predicted that his business would still be thriving 120 years later, making the decision to build a home is just the beginning of a far greater journey. What legacy will you leave behind as we continue building WA?